Hi cats and kittens, it's Amy from Savor Salvage Scent. I hope this finds you well. Happy New Year. Happy 2023. For those of you who have never been to this channel or relatively new, welcome. This mostly focuses on all things fragrance related with some occasional other DIY and creative projects. And for those of you returning, thank you so much for being here. Today I want to share with you what I'm calling my 50 best of 2023, or my 50 favorites. That's a lot, isn't it? And it was even hard to narrow down to this. And I'm not sure if it just means, gosh, I really love perfume. I feel like I'm kind of turning my back on many of them that I love that stayed in my cabinet that I'm not going to show you today. But I just took a quick audit and thought these are the 50 that I reached for the most. In large part, a lot of these were new to me this year. I'm not sure, for those of you who might have listened before, I attempted to do a low buy last year. I made my list and it didn't quite work out that way. However, I was really proud of myself. I did a lot of selling of things that were not a right fit for me. And so I did less purchasing, I'll say. And all to say, I have a large collection. And some of these will probably remain favorites because they're just things that I think really, really suit me or hit a sweet spot. And then some I think I'm fascinated with them somewhat because they're new, and so I wore them a lot this year. So I am going to start with those that are, I would call, more affordable to me, things that were $60 or under. And then I'm going to end with things that are a bit more of an investment. So first, this is Caron's Eau de Reglisse. This is my favorite perfume of all times. It has been for probably 15 years. It's unfortunately discontinued. The last time I looked, you can still find bottles for around $60 online. This is lemon verbena tea with a hint of licorice. I am a licorice lover. Lolita Lempico is one of my first favorite scents. So this is a love, and I would say most people would think it does better in the summer, but I wear it year round because it's really uplifting. And I find it to be perfectly unisex. In fact, a past partner of mine, a man, used to wear, it wasn't this scent, but it was very, very similar. So love this Caron's Eau de Reglisse. For the second year in a row, this has been a scent that I have loved. In fact, I could easily call this my favorite as well. This is Désert Fleur by a company called Bohemian Rêves. I believe they're out of California. I first learned about them in Anthropology. I tried a small, I think a roller ball bottle, and I immediately bought a big bottle, and this is my third. Just to give you an idea how much I've gone through with this. I'm typically not a patchouli person. This is patchouli vanilla, and even though it's not listed as a note, I find this to be kind of boozy. And I just find this to leave the best scent trail, and people just want to hug you and tell you how good you smell. This year I also bought, they have an oil. This runs around, I think around 50 or 60, but a few times a year, both on the Bohemian Rêves site, they'll have promotions, and then on Anthropology, sometimes they'll do like 25% off. So you can find this for around 40, 45. Bohemian Rêves, to me, this is like one of my favorite vanillas. It's patchouli vanilla, dry patchouli, boozy, gorgeous. In love with this thing. Just in love with it, in love with how I smell when I wear it. This is a big surprise for me this year. I typically am not a person who loves aquatic scents. I think a lot of them are made and they smell like a dryer sheet. That's not a thing that I love the smell of, but in walked. This is a company called Royal Apothic. They make one of my favorite carnation scents, which is one of my favorite notes. This was at TJ Maxx, and it is called Sea Salt. And to me, this smells like a mix. This actually smells to me like perhaps being at the beach on a really windy day where you got a lot of the sea air and you have clean skin. I don't know, something like that. It is just, who knows why I love this. It really does have a salty accord. It does smell salty and it smells clean, and I just love this thing. I paid like $12 or $15 for this at TJ Maxx. I think it normally retails for $40 or $45. So this is Sea Salt by Royal Apothic. Love this as a fresh, clean, beachy scent. Wore it a lot in the summer. As you can see, this is a dent from 1 year. So love the thing. All right, I'm going to talk through a few by Alkemia, one of my favorite small niche houses. This is a long favorite of mine. I had a few samples of it that I wore over years, and finally they had a really great sale this year, and they tend to run sales a few times a year, and I went for it and I bought a few bottles. This is called Silken Tent. This to me is a sweet, sugary gourmand. It's more sugar than anything, honestly, almost tooth-achingly sweet when you first spray it, but it dries down, and what makes this really interesting to me is it has a chrysanthemum note. You can really smell that slightly bitter. I think chrysanthemum, it reminds me a little of vetiver in that it's almost got a smoky feel to me, or a bitter feel, almost grassy, and I get both in this. I get this sweet concoction, but that bitterness of that little bit of the chrysanthemum, I think makes this so amazing and weird and awesome and unique, and you will not smell like anybody else. I love it. So Silken Tent. Their 1 ounce perfumes, I think, tend to run around 40 to 50, but they have some incredible sales a couple times a year too. Get on their mailing list if you're not on it. And I think I paid like 30 or 35 for this on sale. Silken Tent by Alkemia. Next, another Alkemia, L'Encens à la Vanille. It is exactly how it is described. It is a really incensey vanilla. It is not a baking vanilla. I mean, it's not super, super gourmand. It's definitely more like the richest, most luxury incense and vanilla. That's about it. L'Encens à Vanille by Alkemia. I tend to wear that a lot in the fall. This next one is called New Orleans Love Spell. They often discontinue their scents, and I was afraid this was going to get discontinued. It's very jasmine forward. I mean, who doesn't love the name, first of all? But also, when I first sprayed this, I fell in love with it, but I thought I didn't need it for, all of 10 minutes because it smells almost identical when you smell it in the bottle, or first on your skin, to Guerlain Samsara, which is one of my first and favorite perfumes, very jasmine, floral dominant. However, when this dries down, it becomes as much about spice, like, I'm not even exactly sure what spices are in here, but very, very, I would say, if I had to guess, nutmeg and maybe cardamom, but even more so when it dries down, you get incense again. I'm an incense lover, in case you can't tell. And so much so that the jasmine almost goes away. And I don't mind that. I kind of like the journey. If you're a person that likes a linear perfume, you might not like this one, but it starts out as this bombastic samsara smelling floral, and then it becomes about incense and spicy and soapy. It's wonderful. New Orleans Love Spell. I don't think this is for everybody. It's got a vintage kind of feel. I do find it sexy, like its name. But I think you kind of have to be open to like a more vintage smell for this one. So Alkemia New Orleans Love Spell. Love it. Wore it a lot right after I got it, which was about, 6 months ago. This is one where you must love powder, but if you do, it's phenomenal. This is by Mia Perla, and this is Mia Perla. It was originally, I think, really, really, really cheap on discounter websites for a while. I learned about this through another YouTuber's channel, and she said, her name is, I think, Jennifer Latif. I'm going to link her channel below. And she described this as what she believed angels would smell like. And I was like, yeah, those are bold claims. She's not entirely wrong in my mind. This is just the most beautiful. It's not just like Johnson's baby powder. It is richer than that. It has vanilla floral qualities, but mostly powder, just, I think, very, very luxury smelling. And this, I think I paid like 20 or 25 for it. It's going up. It's not as easy to find on discount sites anymore. It's more around 40 now, but very, very high-end smelling. Love this thing. And this is one that I love to wear before bed. I would wear it anytime, but I find it to be very comforting. So La Perla, Mia Perla. Phenomenal. Next, I learned about this through Sarah May's channel. This is by Brocard, which I believe is a Russian company, and it's called My Cup of Tea. Specifically, it's the 5 o'clock scent. I think they have a few in a line called My Cup of Tea. I think I paid $25 for this online, and it is one of my favorite, like, oh, I can't even tell you how good this smells right now. Favorite tea scents. This is rich, earthy tea with lemon. It's rich though. It's got almost a bit of spice to it too. It's so beautiful. So yeah, spicy, dark tea with lemon. This is Brocard's My Cup of Tea 5 o'clock. So gorgeous, so underrated, so affordable. And I really need to try more of their scents based on this one, I believe. Next, oh my gosh, speaking of dents and how much I've worn this, I don't know if you can see, this is halfway gone from 1 year. This is by MoroccanOil, and my wonderful friend Autumn pointed this out to me when we were in Sephora one day. This is Brumes de Maroc, and this is essentially supposed to be a perfumer body mist version of MoroccanOil, the hair serum. I find this to be a perfect kind of spa scent. What's interesting to me about it is it's not just clean like some spa scents are. It's majorly ambery, very ambery, has a bit of a vanilla clean even, but yet it's got that spa quality too. And in fact, my friend smells a bit of eucalyptus in this. I don't get that. I get like a clean, fresh smell with amber. And I just find this to be a great scent to like get things done, do errands, run around the house, work out. I wore it on some really, really hot days this summer. You can see I wore it like crazy now. You have to spray, and in my opinion, I had to spray clothes and kind of overspray it to get the performance I wanted. But I think I got this on sale for like $30 some at Sephora during a sale. So I don't mind overspraying for that price. It's gorgeous. I love it. It makes me feel wonderful. Brumes de Maroc by MoroccanOil. Next, an old favorite I have fallen in love with again, thanks to my friend Lynn. This is Kenzo's Flower by Kenzo. I think I talked about trying a sample again, and my lovely friend sent this to me. This is another powder bomb. I have to spray it right now. I love this thing so much. I have to smell it. It's so interesting. This, for those of us who are old enough, 51, we can remember this coming out and it being revolutionary. One, it was powdery, but it wasn't powdery in the old school way that we were used to growing up, because it's got this floral nature. I want to say it has violet or iris. I can't remember which one, but it's got that like earthy, sweet, but powdery thing going on. Floral too, and then was in this revolutionary bottle that a lot of people don't like, but I love. And I just find this to be so, so, so comforting. I'm so glad to own it again, and I've worn it a lot this last summer. Can't wait to wear it in the spring. I love this in the spring. So Flower by Kenzo. Thank you, Lynn. Let's see. Next, I'm going to talk about, this is one that's kind of like right on the edge of that $60 price point that I was talking about. This is a scent by L'Aromatica. This is a small niche house. I will again link their information below. The proprietor's name is Loreto Remsing, and they make incredible small batch perfumes. A few of my favorite floral scents are by them. One is called Hello Delicious, and one is called Brocade. They also make a scent called Coffee that a lot of people love. That's a gourmand. I fell in love with this. I had a couple samples last year, and I wore them out, and then they ran out of the scent, and I was like, oh no, because part of the reason I wanted and coveted this so much, and this is why it's a practically full bottle, is I burned through the samples, and this to me is a spring scent. And again, I tend to not always love like clean or bright, just floral scents. Who knows why I love this thing? This is more like fresh green citric tea to me. And it's just fresh, and it smells like spring to me. It's a, fresh citric tea to me, Nine Dragons. And they started carrying it again just a few months ago. So highly recommend the house in general, L'Aromatica, and this is Nine Dragons. Love it. And she gift wraps so beautifully, FYI, in case you ever want to purchase gifts for yourself or others. This is another love by my friend Lynn. Lynn provided me with, I believe, a couple samples of this, and I burned through them and immediately bought a bottle. So this is Guerlain's Vetiver. For those of you who are new to the channel, you might not know, I am a big believer that perfume is genderless. I think no matter who it's marketed to, if you like it, you should wear it. If you enjoy it, it makes you feel good. Here comes Guerlain's Vetiver, absolutely marketed to men. I adore it. I would say the gateway drug for me in Vetiver is Chanel's Sycamore. I'm going to talk about that momentarily. And based on me talking about that, Lynn was like, you need to try Guerlain's Vetiver. I'm a huge fan of Guerlain. They were my first favorite house. You can still find this affordably, I would say under $60. And it is, I think, perfectly unisex, gorgeous, bright, grassy, more of a almost fresh smelling vetiver to me. It dries down and gets a bit more like powdery grassy, but I think it has like a bright quality that I love. This to me is a perfect, you can wear it all year round, but I think it's perfect summer to fall because it's got that fresh element, but also that dry kind of grassy feel, and does great in the fall. So Guerlain's Vetiver was worn a lot this year. Oh, this is a love from my friend Keri, who oversees the channel Totally Off Topic. I'm going to link their site below. For those of you who don't know, and I'm going to link this video below, we swapped scents and she sent me, I'm not kidding, I think 60 perfumes. I could not believe it. Decants. And I just enjoyed myself so thoroughly working through those. She also sent me a few scents on their own, and one is 100 Bonds, Myrrhe and Encens, Mysterieux. I'm about halfway through this. I love incense scents. I love myrrhe. This is perfect for me. It reminds me a little of one of my favorite discontinued scents by Tom Ford. And when this first came out, it was really, really affordable. So maybe I shouldn't have it in this affordable section anymore. I want to say you could find this as cheaply as like $10 to $20. And this dumb one sat on it too long and now it's discontinued, and I literally cannot find it. Can't find it. No one has it. If you know of it, or if there's anybody who wants to swap or sell it to me, let me know. I'm in love with this thing. It is so me. I wore this like crazy this fall. Absolutely love it. This is again 100 Bon, Myrrhe and Encens Mysterieux. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So mad it's discontinued. But so happy to own it thanks to Keri. Also through Keri, I already loved Elizabeth and James. I owned Black and I burned through a whole bottle and the oil. I love Black. It's a wonderful, super affordable sandalwood scent. However, I think these scents are not going to be affordable for long because I believe they've all been discontinued. Can't figure out why. So Keri sent me then the Amethyst, and I was could not believe how much I fell in love with that. And so I bought this bottle. I think I paid like literally $15, $12 for it, something like that. This to me is so cool because it's tobacco and florals. And it's just so rich and gorgeous. I'm not quite sure why it's called Amethyst. I should look into that, but I just find this to be a perfect mixture of tobacco and florals. And what I love about it is, you know, absolutely about the tobacco in my mind, but it's not so tobacco that I think a lot of women would be afraid to wear it. I think it's perfectly unisex, and I think it would be sexy as all get out on anybody, including a man. So this is the Amethyst, and I thank Keri for turning me on to that. Based on how much I loved it, I immediately ordered 2 others in this same purchase. They were equally cheap. They're not quite as cheap now, but oh my gosh, are they amazing too? And I think there's one that has become my favorite. So then I purchased the bourbon, Nirvana bourbon, which I had on my list for a while. And this has become a favorite scent. An old favorite scent of mine was Kiehl's Vanilla Cedarwood, and it was discontinued, and now it's stupidly expensive, like $300 to $500 a bottle. This smells so similar. This is bourbon, vanilla, and again, I get a little bit of wood or tobacco. This to me has become my favorite woody vanilla scent. So this is Elizabeth and James bourbon, and to me this is bourbon, vanilla, and wood. It's incredible. And then this was the surprising one. I thought, oh, since they're so cheap, I'll order one of the other ones. It's on deep discount. This one was the cheapest of all of them. This is French Gray. I love these bottles. They almost remind me of flasks, and they tend to be the color of whatever they're describing. This is, to me, you know, a lot of people talked about it being lavender, and it is absolutely a fresh aromatic lavender, but it's as much about orange flower, orange blossom it is lavender. I feel like there's been this trend over the last, I don't know, 15, 20 years, still going strong, where a lot of orange blossom is being used for female marketed scents. This, however, a lot of those are really like, what should I say, candied and syrupy and more about the honey, I feel like, than the orange blossom. This is true fresh orange blossom. It's as much about orange blossom to me as it is lavender. And it's one of those scents to me that it smells like $1,000. I mean, it smells so expensive and so chic, and it's so, to me, French. It smells effortless, not fussy, not about, 50 or 100 notes. It is, but somehow it works, and it just smells, to me, expensive, chic, effortless, and it feels light and lovely to wear in that, what should I say? It doesn't, I love some scents that challenge me. This is not challenging to me, but it's fabulous. So this is French Gray by Elizabeth James, still really affordable on discount sites, and I become crazy about it. So wore that a lot this year. The next two are both things that I learned about or fell in love with in Paris. This is by a company called Panier Désert. I will, again, link the name and the information below. And this company I first learned about them in Paris. I smelled the scent, but also their hand creams and things. And I brought a bottle of this back for my best friend, who is absolutely crazy about orange blossom perfumes. This is, to me, one of the truest orange blossom scents I've ever smelled. A bit sugary, though, too. It's like candied orange blossom petals. And this thing is typically, I think, around high 30s, low 40s. And they have sales a few times a year if you get on the list. So absolutely love this thing. It is so gorgeous. So does my best friend. I'm just loving it. So this is Panier Désert, and this is their orange blossom or Fleur d'Oranger scent. It's just so beautiful. Wore that like crazy. Can't wait to wear it more in the spring and summer. This is another surprise for me. It's a surprise both because I don't typically love super clean scents. It's also a surprise because when I came home after I purchased it, I was surprised by how negative the reviews are for it. Who knows? But, sometimes the things that are really simple or boring to other people, and I've got plenty of those. I've got plenty of, let's say, perfumes that are popular and beloved by others that I just think, I don't get it. Well, in walks Rocha Girl. I was in the giant Sephora in Paris on the Champs-Élysées, and it's a great place if you're there to smell a lot of perfumes at once. You have to kind of take breaks. I mean, they must have, 500 perfumes to smell on the, along the walls, kind of like the Sephora's here, but many, many more things and scents that you can't easily find here that are either created in France or more popular there. I love the House of Rocha. I love Tocade. I think really underrated. So I picked this up mostly at first because of the bottle. I thought it was a very cool modernist bottle. I am not a girl, I'm a lady, or a woman. I'm more a woman, I'm not a lady. Yeah. However, I picked this up, and it's one that I was fascinated by the bottle, but I didn't think I was going to like it based on its name, frankly, because I thought it would just be boring, or I hate to say it, just be marketed toward young girls. I sprayed this, And it was one of the only I sprayed on skin. I probably sprayed hundreds that day on cards. I got worn out. I walked around for a while, came back, went to Guerlain down the street, came back. And I kept being like, what is that smells so good? And I was in disbelief that it was this scent. And I sprayed it again. I was like, yeah, it's that. So this changes a lot over time. It is a fresh scent. How cute that it says spray good, feel good on the bottle, by the way. This is expensive in Paris. I want to say this was like around 100, 120. You can find this right now on Fragrance Net for $20 some as a tester. It comes in a box still. This is, I haven't worn it a ton yet. I've made a bit of a dent. You can't tell because of the way the bottle is made, but this is to me a really grassy tea, citric floral. It's got all those things going on. It almost reminds me a little, it's not exactly like it. It reminds me a little of those of you who might be familiar with YSL's Baby Doll back in the day. I loved that scent. That was a kind of almost to me a fresh, light, almost everything from the kitchen sink. It was like floral, you know, other things. But this is to me a little grassier. It's bright, it's fresh. I have to reapply this about halfway through the day. I don't mind for the cost. And it just feels, again, it's like that effortless French chic. I just absolutely love it. So this is Rochat Girl. I don't hear many people talk about it here. When I do, it's not very nice. And I think it's what's boring to others. For some reason, this one just really works for me. So Rochat Girl, love it. Last but not least in this super affordable category. So also when I was traveling to Paris this year, I was in an airport store, and they had Ange au Démon, which looks kind of like this. This is a flanker of it by Givenchy. And that's another one where I read about it for years. I don't know why it took me long to get to it, but I sprayed Ange au Démon in the airport. Didn't think much of it, but all of a sudden when I was on the airplane, like an hour later, I was like, oh my God, what is that smell? So I fell in love with both the original, and then this is a flanker I'm going to talk about in a minute. But there is I'm going to have to put the name of it below. There's another flanker that has been discontinued. And Joss from Joss's Fragrance Addiction, I believe is the name of the channel. I don't know why I'm forgetting it because I love her. Hello, Joss. You're the best. I'm going to link her information below. You're probably familiar already. Anyway, she sent me this flanker, and it was discontinued. I was so bummed, and it was very tea scented. Well, I looked online, and a lot of people said that there was this really cheaply made knockoff, and this is by a company called Rayan Tradition. They make a lot of dupes. Essentially, they make a dupe that's supposed to be one of the best for Lancôme La Vie est Belle. This is supposed to be a dupe for the Ange au Démon flanker that I love. I'm going to put the name below. I'm forgetting it. And this was $20, and it's fab. I don't know if you can see, I put a pretty good dent in it within just 1 year. It is floral clean with a lot of tea, and I just love it. It just works on my skin. It's got a weird, almost chemical, like that baby doll smell when you first spray it. I quite like that smell, weirdly. I don't know. This is another one where I'm not sure it would work for everybody, but it sure works for me. So this is called Aqua de Parisis, or Parisi, I'm not sure. Milano by Rayan Tradition. And I'm gonna put the link below. It is a dupe of a Ange au Démon flanker that is no longer made and I can no longer afford. So this at $20 some is a great feat. All right, this is going to bridge into the now more investment sense. Those of you who have watched Sunny Scents, she's literally sunshine and a breath of fresh air. I got to know her this year through Richard Kikot and some others who had recommended her, and I just fell in love with her and her channel. I love her scents. I love what a straight shooter she is, but she's so warm and lovely. She also isn't afraid of a cheapie, which I love about her. Anyway, I just was flabbergasted. So we talked about trading scents, and I sent some decants because anyways, that's what I thought we were going for. And this lovely lady sent me a selection of things, including a bottle. I had fallen in love with this whole line of Ange au Démon, and she sent me the Les Parfums there's this like concentrated oil, and it's got like, It's got a heavier dose of like an incense. I want to say there's sandalwood in this. It like is a drop will do you. So I put these two on together. Heaven. This is like gourmand, vanillic. God, what else can I say about it? I think it has some orange blossom in it. I'm going to spray it actually. So I need to remind myself. I need to wear this more right now, actually. This is, to me, I'm not even sure if it has orange blossom in it, but it strikes me as one of those almost liquory, syrupy, vanillic, orange blossom, floral concoctions. But then you put a little drop of this guy on too. Holy Hannah. So sexy, so gorgeous, beautiful. Thank you, Sunny. I love this thing. Need to wear it more right now because it's cold and it would be great. Okay. I think I can taste it right now, as a matter of fact. Two more from Paris that I fell in love with. Oh my gosh. One is called, okay, so both are by this house called Parle Moi de Parfum. So speak to me of perfume. Sexy name. This is the family of Michel Amrac. A lot of you will know that nose, creating many, many scents and worked under many brands for many years. This is a house that he and his family formed, and it's essentially his creative license. That is so exciting to me because I just know enough about artists from working in museums and about noses that they often, any artist typically, has to, what should I say, compromise. They have to often compromise when it comes to their portfolio, pitching to their brand, to their company, to the museum they're working for, to whoever's paying the bills, frankly. In some ways, compromise can be good, but it's very hard for artists too. And I just love the idea that this company is basically like that family, and this knows being able to do what he wants to do. This is called, I, by the way, visited one of the shops when I was in Paris. I was treated like $1 million. Like, I cannot believe how wonderfully I was treated. They even shared with me a scent that they were like working on as far as some of the notes. And then they walked me through each scent. And of course, shocking, I bought 2 bottles and they gifted me with a beautiful sample set. So I intend to buy more over time. And when I go back to Paris this year, I can't wait to go back to the shop. So here are the 2 from Parle Moi. One is Guimauve de Noël, which essentially means Christmas marshmallow or Noël marshmallow. This is the marshmallow scent I've been longing for my whole life. I'm not kidding. It is absolutely marshmallows out of the bag or the box. It has a tiny bit more vanilla and powdery like a vanilla, but somehow sophisticated. It's got maybe a tiny bit of spice. You can see I've made quite a dent in this. I layer it with other things and I wear it by itself. Both are gorgeous. I've gotten compliments on this thing. It is gorgeous. I love everything about it. I love they have magnetic caps. I loved the shop experience. And while these are more of an investment scent, they're not bad. I think they're about $100, which I think is a great rate for a generous bottle of perfume of this quality. The other scent I got is called Gardens of India. And gosh, I love this thing. I love the name, frankly, but it is my favorite mango scent. It's green, fresh spices, and mango. I mean, I assume it is things that you might smell truly in gardens in India. And it's just, to me, one of those artistic, out-of-the-box, fresh scents or fruity scents. But it's so creative and not like everything else you smell. It's so great. And again, this is another one that gets compliments. This is Gardens of India by Parle Moi de Parfum. Next is, now you might be able to find decants of this for an affordable price, but I put it in the more expensive category because I believe it's harder to find now. So those of you who know Margie, I'm going to link her channel below. She was kind enough to send me, does she go by Margie Louise? I apologize if I'm wrong. I'm going to link the name of the channel. She knows that I love carnation and sent me a bunch of decants this year. And one was D&G Red, so Dolce & Gabbana, the red cap. I know that some really popular YouTubers have talked about their love of the scent, including Thomas O'Brien. I forget the name of his, I think he goes by Ouch110. He was like one of the first YouTubers I watched for perfume. Really great. I think it's his favorite scent, if not one of. And I believe this has been reformulated many times. I'm not even sure what version this is, but this is a decant, and this thing, I'm going to have to buy a bottle when I run out. This is a bit old school, I would say, and I love old school, so that's a turn on for me. But this smells, it reminds me a bit of, I cannot remember the name of it. Another older carnation scent that I really, really love. This is the most beautiful, powdery, heady, thick, deep, rich floral, with really carnation heavy. So I absolutely love it. Thank you, Margie, so much. So D&G Red Cap, Dolce & Gabbana Red Cap perfume. Next is a scent that was a really large bottle, was decanted for me by my friend Lynn. Lynn is one of my perfume fairies and one of my favorite humans, and anyways, just adore her. She sent me this, and it is by ETAT, how do you say the company? Libre d'Orange? I think it's like Free State of Orange in French. This is Jasmine et Cigarettes. So Jasmine and Cigarettes. This, frankly, I took to Paris expecting to wear it. I thought it was a perfect size. I took a few things, and I actually ended up not wearing it in Paris, but wearing it like crazy when I got home from Paris, and here's why. It really does smell like the most beautiful fresh jasmine perfume, and then that bit of like almost stale smoke on your clothing from the bar. And to me, I think the French would dispute this, but I do see a lot more people smoking there. I do smell cigarettes a lot more in Paris than I do where I live in Cleveland, Ohio. And to me, this smells like Paris. So when I was in Paris, the last few years has been in the spring, and jasmine is literally being sold on the streets in pots. You smell jasmine in the air for that reason, and you smell cigarettes all the time. This, to me, smells like Paris, and it has just become beloved for that reason. And I didn't wear it in Paris, but I wore it like crazy when I first got home. I still have about half the bottle left, and I can't wait to wear it more in this spring and summer. Wonderful. So this is ETAT Libre d'Orange, Jasmine et Cigarette, thanks to my friend Lynn. Total love this year. This is an old favorite. This has been a favorite for a few years. It is probably in my top 3 vanillas, if not my favorite vanilla. This is Serge Lutens Un Bois Vanille. This is essentially a woody vanilla, as it's called, but to me, it's as much about licorice. And so for this licorice loving girl, this is a gourmand licorice vanilla. See how I am? I'm just like, oh, I love this thing. It is so gorgeous. And it's one of those where I spray it and I spray it more and I spray it more. And I don't do that because it doesn't have good lasting power. I do it because I'm obsessed. Yeah. So Serge Lutens Un Bois Vanille got worn like crazy this year. 2 more from Paris. First, I'm going to mention something I don't have a bottle of in front of me, but I feel like I have to talk about it because I wore it like crazy. Oh, gosh. Lovely friend. I am not going to say your name because I'm not sure you would want me to. Anyway, I will check in with you. Anyway, I'm so thankful. Sent me a bottle of Guerlain's Aqua Allegoria Herba Fresca. And I absolutely fell in love with it. That is one I did take to Paris, and I used a 10 milliliter decant. I went through it. That's how much I wore the thing. I wore it literally every day. I wore it. So I was in Paris for about, I think 7 days. And that was my morning scent when I would like go out in the street, get coffee and a croissant, walk. I tend to take my like garden walks in the morning, my more like physical aggressive walks in Paris. And I wore that every day. Sometimes I would wear it right out of the shower, and sometimes I would put it on again before bed. So I burned through a whole small bottle of Herba Fresca, which I loved. And then here are 2 Guerlain scents I bought while in Paris this year. I have wanted a bottle of Nahima for a long time. This is like one of their most famous rose-based scents. And you can just see how beautiful this bottle is. I wanted this for years. And it wasn't being made for a few years. I thought it was done for, frankly. And then they repackaged a lot of their kind of like classic scents that they've continued on, and I was so glad this is one of them. So I smelled this in the shop in Guerlain in Paris, immediately bought it. This is, it's a perfect, to me, antique, almost like, yeah, like a tea rose, strong. You get the green and the stem and the leaf as much. You get spice too, and you get lipstick. That's what I get from this thing. It is perfect, gorgeous rose, and I adore it. I'm so glad I purchased it. This is not terrible though for a Guerlain perfume. I want to say around 100. And yeah, anyways, terrific. And then another that I had tried through Sebastian Furtado, another person that I've swapped with. He's wonderful. Again, I'll link his channel below. He was kind enough, he's a Guerlain lover and collector, and he sent me a decant of Après Lande. I wanted to try it for years. I love, while I don't always love clean scents, I love rain scents. And, you know, you can imagine I was dying to try something of after the rain or after the storm, and fell in love with it. And it was being made for a while. And then I found this, again, rebottled in the classic kind of line of Guerlain. When I went to visit the shop, I was so happy to find it. And this is, I'm just starting to wear it, you can see, but this is a perfect, like, fresh, it has two personalities. It's kind of bright in some ways. It's got things like, it does have that irisy, violety kind of feel. A lot of Guerlains have, but I would say more straightforward than some. It definitely smells like those flowers, but it also has that melancholic feel of rain or after rain. So it's just gorgeous. So wore this a lot in the spring. Can't wait to wear it again. L'Après Inde by Guerlain. This is Tonka by Commodity. This was gifted by my friend Autumn, Average Autumn. I'm going to link her channel below. She's incredible. And we were so lucky, like, started chatting and really enjoying each other, like, online. And then I learned that she lives just about 40 minutes from me. So we became fast friends. She is less of a hoe than I am when it comes to knowing who she is and narrowing down her scent profile. She probably has maybe 100, 150 perfumes, and there are times her collection even gets smaller because she really concentrates on the one she loves the most. And therefore, sometimes she parts with things that are like absolute gems. And then as her friend, she has gifted me with a few that are just freaking unbelievable. And in walks Commodity Tonka. I am the biggest lover of Tonka. I love Tonka scents. We swapped scents, mystery scents, where we didn't name them at first. We just tried things to see how we reacted. And this is the one that I reacted to most strongly. I just was absolutely crazy about it. It's funny because I didn't pull Tonka out initially because this is as much about powder and vanilla. But of course, the Tonka comes out on your skin more. This is too powdery for a lot of people. This, to me, though, is a perfect scent for Amy. Like, I'm crazy about this thing. I don't know if you can see, there's a really good dent in it from a year. And I just, yeah, I adore this thing. I'm obsessed with how it smells. And it is a compliment getter when you wear it out in the world. And I really need to try more Commodity based on this. Really gorgeous. So, Commodities Tonka. Not made anymore, by the way, did I say? It's discontinued. It's expensive, I think. I think you can still find bottles, but anyway, harder to find now. Another gift from Autumn, and this is relatively new to my collection, so she might be surprised that it's on this list of like most beloved from the past year, but I have worn this, I think, 4 times in the few weeks that she gave it to me, and I'm crazy about it. And again, I'm like, what I'm so excited about is it's a fresh scent that suits me. Not many do. This is going to be so amazing in spring. And those of us who collect and talk about fragrance, we're always forward looking the few months ahead. And so like, I'm already thinking about spring, and I've been wearing this, loving it. Can't wait to love it more. This is Jo Malone Sea Daffodil. First of all, look at this beautiful bottle. What does it smell like? Oh gosh. It does have a narcissus smell, which is a very distinct smell that I wish were in more perfumes. It is gorgeous, but it's got that funky, a bit of a sea, salty quality. It does have almost a bit of a seaward or grassy kind of thing, and somehow I love it. It smells like the ocean and like narcissus. So to me, in spring and summer, this is going to just be incredible. I love just looking at the thing. It's so beautiful. I love the way it makes me feel. Love spraying it first out of the shower. So thank you, Autumn. This is my holiday gift this year, and I just am digging it. This is one of the most, I would say, absolutely fell head over heels for scents this year. I read about this scent for years, and I sold some perfume around my birthday this year, and I noticed this was on sale, I think through Max Aroma. They have amazing sales, by the way. This can be hard to find, and when I saw it on sale, and I had just sold this amount of perfume, I think it was on sale for just over 100. It's usually about 150, 200. This is Kiko Macheri's Lacune. I have wanted this so long, you guys. I love Tocade by Rochas. I love vanillic rose scents. Heady, gourmand, sugared vanillic rose. And I had been on the search for years for the perfect Turkish rose or Turkish candy scent. And for those of you who aren't familiar, that kind of Turkish candy or lacune is like, imagine like gummy bear or a jelly that's made in slabs, cut into pieces, rolled in powdered sugar. And I had been on the search for a rose version of that. And it's wild. A lot of the things that were suggested to me, I was like, yeah, but it doesn't smell just like that candy. This really does. It really, really does. It's like that perfect combination of that jammy candied rose with powdered sugar. And it is so sophisticated. And my friend Lynn, who I think has exquisite taste, also fell in love with this when I shared it with her. It's just beautiful. I can't say enough about it. It's one that when I feel like I was first watching YouTube videos to do with perfume, everybody was talking about and got dropped like a hot potato. I haven't heard anybody talk about it for years. And I can't imagine why, because it is, to me, it's artistry in a bottle. It's gorgeous. So this is Kiko Macheri's Lacune. Gorgeous thing. Powdery rose candy. Talk about a generous gift. Okay. This is Jean-Paul Gaultier, Fleur de Mal. Richard Kicot, my dear friend. On one level, I don't want to say it was gifted because I don't like to almost like exploit when somebody has given something to me, but I can't also not give him credit for this incredibly generous gift. And something, anyway, I just was mind blown. So we swapped scents. He's one of my favorite humans and YouTubers. I'm so lucky to know him, just love him. Got to meet him this year. It was like a highlight of my year. And when we traded decants, one of the things that he gifted me with was a decant of Fleur de Mal. And I'll link the videos below, but my friend Autumn and I am both perfume fanatics. Tested a bunch from him. He has exquisite taste. And she and I varied on which things we liked or not, as we normally do as humans. Both she and I think we walked away from that day both saying like that was the number one. We were both like, I can't even understand how much I like it. And there's an example where I think perfume's genderless. This thing was marketed to men. Now it's called Fleur de Mal, so I think it's supposed to be play with gender a bit. But this is the perfect combination to me of like those male-leaning, male-marketed aquatic scents, but with a floral quality that's so beautiful, and it's got a powderiness, and it is exquisite. I burned through that decant. At first, I didn't know that it was discontinued and now coveted. And then I learned that the thing is going for like $200, $300, $400 a bottle. So I was like, oh, well, I will never own that. It was great while it lasted. Really great. He had an extra bottle that he had been sitting on for himself that he sent to me. I cannot, anyways. Mwah, Richard, I love this thing. I just wore it a few days ago, and I was like out in the world going, does anybody understand? Do you smell how good I smell right now? This thing is incredible. It's incredible. It's a masterpiece. I don't use that word very often. Fleur de Mal. And I'm just going to be honest. I don't love all Jean-Paul Gaultier scents. I think a lot of them are screechy. And maybe that's why some of them are so fabulous to me, though. He's a risk taker, right? Like, I love this thing. I don't know who the nose is. I should know. I'll link it below. But Richard, thank you so much. This is hard to find, y'all, so I'm sorry. But if you get a chance to try it or you find it, highly recommend Fleur de Mal. Phenomenal. Okay, I have about 20 more left. Thanks for sticking it out. This was a thrift store find, but I didn't put it in the super affordable category because it is not when you buy it now. This is YSL's Champagne. It is no longer made. It is now called, I think, Eau de Reglisse, and I believe it's been reformulated. It's not supposed to be as great. I'm sure it's still good, though, for real. But, okay, are you ready? I found this 2-ounce bottle in an antique store for $10, for real. And this is like one of my top 5 favorite honey scents. It is honey and booze and aldehydes and florals. But to me, yeah, it's as much about the honey and the floral as it is about the booze. And clearly it's supposed to be about champagne or have that aldehydic sparkling quality because it looks like the top of a champagne bottle. What is this called? I forget. The metal piece. My friend John will know. Anyway, this thing, if you can get your hands on it, highly suggest. I wore it like crazy. You can see I put a huge dent, and it was a new bottle when I bought it. Champagne by YSL. Discontinued, but fabulous. Might want to try the Reglisse and see how similar. All right, 2 more scents I bought in Paris. House of Caron. Hardly anybody talks about it anymore. I don't know why. Fabulous. The shop in Paris seems to be doing well. They have some classics that I've worn for my whole life, including my favorite scent, which is Eau de Reglisse. Some are still being made, like Fleur de Reglisse, which is really beautiful. Some that are phenomenal have been discontinued, sadly, but these 2, I believe, are relatively new. This is Tabacs Exquis, so exquisite tobacco. This is a vanillic, ambery, gorgeous, gourmand tobacco. Crazy about it. Love these bottles. Look, aren't they cool? Like little amulets. And then this is Narcisse Blanc. So where this girl doesn't like a lot of fresh scents, apparently I do because I've talked about a few this time. This Narcisse Blanc, I love things that smell like daffodils or narcissus. It's almost a bitter floral, but sweet and bright at the same time. Love this thing. And that's what it smells like. It smells like perfume and narcissus. It's gorgeous. These run about, I think, about $150. You can find them on sale on occasion. So 2 by Caron that I've worn like crazy, but I just bought them this year, so I'll be wearing them more, I'm sure. This was a splurge for me around my birthday this year. Another splurge. This is Francesca Bianchi's Under My Skin. This is, to me, a powdery musk. It's like a powder bomb. It's sexy, musky. This thing. Oh my gosh. Under My Skin is like perfect because it's, yeah, it makes you growl like I just did. It's like, I think, animalic, sexy, addictive. Oh, it smells like, I do think it's a sexy, even sexual perfume. It's, to me, pre-coitus, not post. It smells like warm bodies in Congress. Yeah. Under My Skin. Love this thing. Gorgeous. Crazy about it. Love her. Can't wait to try more of her scents. And on that note, I need to sell some perfumes. I'm not wearing as much so that I continue to try new things this year. All right. 2 by Bottega Veneta. So Veronica Says is a favorite. Just love her. I love her. She's just got this perfect balance to me of like wisdom, but also does not take herself too seriously. And I just love that. But I think she's brilliantly smart and funny, but also like kooky and just great. She suggested, I think she's talked about both of these scents, but I had been on the search for a perfume that smells like rain bath. I had even like asked a bunch of perfume people I know, and all of us were at a loss. And then I saw a video where she was talking about some favorites, and she talked about Bottega Veneta Knot as being, this is the Knot Absolute, by the way. Oh, Absolute. This, she said, smelled like rain bath. I frankly don't think it's 100% there. I think to do a dupe is like impossible, actually. I think if you get within 80-90%, that's about as close you're going to get. This, to me, has a bit more myrrhe, but it is really, really, really close to rain bath. And man, this thing lasts. It projects sillage for days. Like, it is so resonant. It smells like rain bath and your favorite stick of incense had a baby. I love this thing. It's a little pricey. I mean, over the 100 point, but I think it's great price for how resinous, deep, dark, and what a stunner it is. Based on how good this is, I then was interested to try something else by Bottega Veneta. And then I read that the original was really nice. I think this has been either discontinued or it's harder to find. I got a really good deal on this online, so I went for it. I think I paid like around 50 or 60 for it, and it sells for a lot more now. Also, I just have to give props to both of these bottles. They're so gorgeous. This is the original Bottega Veneta. Look at the little bit of suede around the neck. I had my best friend who is not a total perfume head, but is an artist and artistic, and she loved this too and was like, it smells like money. I had a few other people I know smell it who are into perfume, were like, oh my God, it's incredible. It is, to me, suede more than leather. Beyond the fact that it has a suede around the bottle and it has this beautiful bottle shape. Look at how it's pebbled at the bottom like Bottega Veneta bags are. These things are not lost on me. This is suede, but yet sweet, sugary suede with, I don't think plum is a note, but I smell plum in this. It smells like, for those of you who might, like me, love Rihanna's Rogue, it smells like that, but I would say it's richer older sister. Yeah, that's it. The original Bottega Veneta. Wore it like crazy. Can't wait to wear it more. Beautiful. An old favorite of mine, it's in a strange bottle, Tom Ford's Sahara Noir. So it's probably my favorite incense scent, super dry like the desert. My lovely, lovely friend Solina gifted me with a decant years ago, right after I first met her. And I took the decant to Paris and I wore it the whole time I was in Paris. The first time I went to Paris, it was wicked hot. And I wore Tom Ford Sahara Noir there to kind of almost feel like it was drying me down. It was super humid, and this almost tannic incense scent made me feel dry in that heat, and I just loved it. It's one of my favorite scents. Well, it was discontinued. It's stupidly expensive. I went online and I learned that they had done some testing of the fragrance under the name of Golden Tears. And I lucked out and I found somebody sold 6 of these little half-ounce bottles of this to me for like a ridiculous price. Such a good price. And I bought them years ago and I'll hold on to these forever. It'll take me forever to burn through them, but I couldn't live without them. And yeah, so if you have all the money in the world, Tom Ford's Sahara Noir, if you can still find a bottle, is phenomenal. I've heard the new scent, I think it's called Ebony Fume, sorry, like ebony fumes or ebony smoke, is supposed to be amazing and similar to this, but I have the OG here and I just love it. Wore it like crazy again this year. This is another incredible gift from my friend Richard. This is Atelier Cologne's Cafe Tuberosa. This is another one that had been on my list for years. For some reason, I don't know, Atelier Colognes are hard to find around here. Except for a few like real popular ones. And so I never had the chance to try it. It felt like a bit of a risk for me to buy without sniffing first at that cost. And then this came in the mail one day and I'm about halfway through this. I will absolutely repurchase it when I'm through it. I'm not sure it's made anymore, but for those of you, so I love coffee and perfume, but I often find that perfumes reputed to have a lot of coffee don't smell much like coffee to me. Black Opium is an example. I get like a hint maybe, but this actually smells like cold brewed coffee and tuberose and maybe some other florals. It gets powdery. At first it's almost funky, like that scent that when you're making coffee but you're not drinking it can almost have that acidic burny kind of smell. It has a bit of this and I actually really like it. And then when it softens on skin, the tuberose comes out and it becomes more gourmand and soft and powdery. Crazy about this thing. I've only had it for a couple months and I'm wearing it like crazy. I love it. Cafe Tuberosa by Atelier Cologne. Thank you, Richard. Y'all, I'm going to talk about 3 from Solstice Scents. I could talk about way more, but these are 3 that I just found myself wearing like crazy this year. All Solstice Scents, the bigger ones. So the oils are only about 16 to 20. Those are 5 milliliter, but they're great. And then the perfumes, which I wore and bought more of this year, are 2 ounce, and they run anywhere from about 80 to about 100, which is a great price for a phenomenal niche perfume. This is lavender vanilla. It is the perfect lavender for me. You know, lavenders can go either really candied these days, depending on how the perfumer represents it, or super herbal, like a spa scent. I like both, but this is right in the center for me. So it's got that bit of that like aromatic, almost smoky, herbal quality, but it's got a bit of the candiness too. And then with her beautiful, gorgeous vanilla that is like not too sweet, just really earthy, I guess, in this case. So this lavender vanilla is right in the center between gourmand and aromatic. It's right in the middle, and it works perfectly. And I wore this, I have been wearing this like crazy. I've only had a couple months. Something I fell in love with about a year ago, but I've worn this a lot more, is her Solstice Scents Lace Draped Scepter. No, Spectre. I always get that wrong. Sorry. I do know the difference, but I can never remember the name. Lace Draped Spectre. So this is beautiful though. Gorgeous presentation. This is one of my favorite carnation perfumes. It is candied carnation. So it's got that clovey nature, that beautiful spicy carnation nature, but it's candied too. And so it's very modern. Perfect carnation. Wear it like crazy. Gorgeous. One of my favorite notes. Crazy about the thing. And then even though I just talked about lavender vanilla, I also have to talk about Estate Vanilla. I just got this like a month ago, and I've worn it probably 20 times. I wear various perfumes through the day, and this one, I just soak myself in it. I'm loving this thing. And it's funny because you wouldn't necessarily think lavender during the winter, and it's like a candy. I find this to be as much about tea and candy as it is lavender. It still has the herbal quality. It's right there in the center again, but it's just the lavender, no vanilla in the case of the last scent. Oh my God. Oh my God, I love this thing. It also smells a bit like, I can never tell the difference sometimes between violet and iris. I think this is violet too. So this is Solstice Scents Estate Lavender. Crazy about it. If you love lavender, you got to try it. Gorgeous. Another trip to Paris scent. This is Diptyque's, I don't know if it's pronounced Olene. This is Spring in a Bottle. Let me spray it. This, I want to say, I should have researched a bit more. This is white florals, and this is like, you better like spring white florals. It is absolutely spring. It smells like, I get like Easter lily. I get narcissus for sure. I might even get a little gardenia. Is there tuberose? I'm not sure. I get mostly like the spring white florals, like the lily, narcissus. And it's one of those where I think this might be too bright for some folks. Almost have a vintage feel, but to me it smells just like spring. And I wore this like crazy this spring when I got home from Paris and got a lot of compliments on it. It's beautiful. It's a strong one too. Absolutely love it. And I will just say, I had the most phenomenal experience in Diptyque in Paris too. I was treated so wonderfully. I love their candles too. I bought a violet candle that I'm obsessed with, burned through, but treated wonderfully there. However, the main company, I've had a broken bottle that I was gifted by somebody for years, and I've written everybody I know to write, and no one has responded from the company. So if you know anybody, let me know. Meanwhile, this is a banger, as the kids say. Olene by Diptyque. Gorgeous. Just a few more, y'all. I can't not talk about, this has become my favorite Chanel, Sycamore. I'm almost through this little, I think it's a 5 milliliter bottle. It is phenomenal. It is one of my favorite vetiver scents. It's heinously expensive. I'll probably never buy it again, but it is so good. And I did not put the favorite in this list today because I've not worn it enough. It didn't feel authentic, but my wonderful, wonderful friend Linda just sent me a bottle of Encre Noir. The other reason I probably will never buy a full bottle of this is, it's funny, when I first smelled them years ago, I didn't think they were absolutely spot on, but now I feel like it's so close to Sycamore and it's phenomenal. But I did want to say that I wore this a lot this year. So love this scent. Just chic, beautiful, vetiver, sexy, but still refined somehow. Phenomenal. Okay. I'm going to end with 5 relatively new scents to me. This is another scent that was talked about like crazy in the perfume community. I want to say like 5 to 8 years ago. And I feel like nobody talks about it anymore. And I do not understand people that own it and don't talk about it. So this is another one I splurged. So this one has only been in my collection for a little over a month. I splurged for myself around before Christmas based on sale. I found this drastically reduced online. This is Ormond Jane's Tolu. I love resin and balsam. So, a lot of people, I feel like this got mixed reviews for years because it depended on if you liked those kind of things. A lot of people don't like resins and incense and things like that. So those are the people who weren't fond of it. People who tried this, I remember years ago, were just talking about it. And I love this thing. I'm obsessed with it. I got this and I was like, I have dreamt of you for years and you're everything I want to do to be more. It's balsamic, but it's not so balsamic that it only smells like sap and pine trees. It smells like incense, but yet it's got a soapy quality. However, it still smells, it's got this it smells like it's been around for 300 years. It's such quality and it smells so classic and interesting, but yet smells modern all the same. This thing, and it's deep, gorgeous, rich. I'm just going to say this is not for the faint of heart. I don't think I would have loved this the first 5 or 10 years I wore perfume. But now, friends, Tolu is unbelievable. I love this beautiful thing. It is so gorgeous. I just have to share. I think it usually retails for about $200 and I got this for $80 online. This is one of my Christmas presents to me. Love it. Thank you, friend Kelly, for suggesting, based on my love of licorice, to look into Chris Rusak's Beast Mode. Small house perfumer, goes in and out. Like, from what I understand, he makes small batches. Sometimes they're available, and then things won't be available for some time. This is the magic of people who make small batch perfumes. I have to be honest. When I first sprayed this, I was like, I have made a terrible mistake. I paid real money for this guy. Well deserved. I think it was about $140. And I was like, I can't believe I spent all this money on this licorice perfume and I hardly smell licorice and I hardly smell the perfume and it's nothing. Well, don't you know, later that day, I was like, wow. So this is one of those, it smells light and airy, a bit herbal licorice, kind of like Lolita Lampica, Junior or something. When I first sprayed it, I just got a little bit of that. I didn't get much. And I was like, what is the big deal? Well, guess what? It must be why it's called Beast Mode, because through the course of the day, I was like, oh, okay, there you are, friend. There you are. I think it's so funny that when, most perfumes, you get more of the heady nature when you first spray them. You get all those top notes and something might blast right out of the bottle. This one is subtle out of the bottle, and then throughout the course of the day, you're like, whoa, friend. And it just smells like, to me, wood, tea, and licorice. I don't even know if those are the notes. That's what comes out, and it becomes more and more magical on your skin. And to my surprise, I sprayed this in the morning, and the next day, I smelled this on my clothes and skin when I woke up. So, you can see I've put a pretty good dent in this little bottle. Love it. Chris Rusak's Beast Mode. If you like licorice, take a chance. Oh, by the way, I think this is perfectly unisex. I won't say much about this because I've raved about it through the year. This is Night Flower by Iris Parfums. For those of you who don't know Barbara Herrmann, she's an amazing writer. Great books, but I love her. I think it's called, oh shoot, I'm going to forget because my memory's terrible. Yesterday's Perfumes blog. She is just incredible, and she's teamed up with Antoine Lee, the perfumer, to make a line of scents, and they're all great. This happens to be the one I went for first, called Night Flower. I think it's the perfect name. It is a spicy, heady nocturnal floral. So for those of you like me who might garden, you know, there are certain scents that are blooms that bloom at night and they tend to be heady. It's that with some spice, and it's a sexy thing. I read that Dita Von Teese wears this. I'm not surprised. It has a vintage nature too, but yet I feel like it's somehow still modern. This thing is just awesome. Really great investment scent, and I think the whole line is, they're humdingers. I mean, they're just beautiful, artistic, phenomenal scents. So this is my first, and I continue to say I haven't done it yet, but Green Spell will probably be my next. My friend Lynn turned me onto that, and it's incredible too. I'm going to end with two that are like, I think kind of wrap up my just personality or year. I love Tom Ford's I love Tobacco Vanille too. I love Lost Cherry. That was one of my favorites last year. I know it's stupidly expensive for a cherry scent, but I think it's cherry done perfectly. I never thought there would be a cherry scent that I liked more. This happens to be more like me. In walks, who sent this to me? I think Selena sent me this decant. BDK's Rouge Smoking. So I'll be honest, there are a lot of scents that get super hyped, and I'm not sure if it's because they're fabulous. It also, I know, unfortunately, it could also be because as YouTubers, we're approached a lot by certain companies, and some of the same companies approach people. I also think there's a hype train around certain scents, and none of these things are invalid, right? But I tend to shy away from the things that get hyped a lot, just in life, I feel like. And part of that is because I tend to I'm a bit of a weird duck, and I tend to like things that are more unique, and, you know, and so the fact that this was so hyped, I frankly would have never tried it on my own. And then my darling, wonderful friend Selena sent me a decant, and I was like, oh, by the way, everything that Selena sends me, I like. Even things she doesn't like that she sends me, I like. I don't understand the illness, but it's true. This is like, take the qualities I love from Tom Ford's Lost Cherry, which is like a resinous, beautiful, juicy cherry, and then add powder and candy and powdered sugar, and that's what you'll get. I wore this decant down within a week, and then this was one of my Christmas splurges. So Max Aroma was having incredible sale. They were doing things like buy one, get one, and I mean, just crazy. So this was one of my Christmas gifts to self, and I'm so thrilled about it because it's phenomenal. So this is kind of, to me, the more popular version, or I shouldn't say popular, the easier reach version of Amy, or the thing that maybe other people like. And then this is probably the weirdest scent, I would say. I love that word. I'm not afraid of it. Unique, bizarre compared to most things on the market. Can't believe it's being made, and I adore it scents. It's also made for men. This is Diaz and Derja's Burning Barbershop. I wanted to try this just based on the name and the fact that I tend to like fougères. I like barbershop-y scents. Some of my favorite male-leaning scents are in that category. They smell like powder or lavender or herbs that, you know, were used in tonics in the barbershop. And then I also like smoky scents. So I was like, I'm going to try this weird thing. So during one of my, I think when I purchased one of my splurges this year, I got as a gift a few decants that you could choose. And so I chose this. I am so glad I did. And then this was on sale toward the end of the year through, I think it was Max Aroma. So this is normally, I want to say, around $150 or $200, and I think I paid something like $75 or $80, something like that. This is like the perfect mixture of fougere and smoke. And this is one where when you first spray it, it's like, whew, like you get a lot of both of those elements, and it almost seems like too much. And then that soap, it starts to get almost powdery, and that soapy quality comes out. I love this thing. And by the way, I haven't heard many people talk about it. I don't think any of my friends, but Richard Kikot, I noticed recently, I think you posted a picture of your collection, and I saw this bottle, and I wondered if you liked it. I'm just curious if anybody else likes it, or if I'm the only weird one in the world. I love this thing, and now based on this, I can't wait to try other scents of theirs. So, y'all, I think that was 50 cents. Thanks for sticking it out. I would love to hear, do any of you wear any of these? Are any of these in your favorite list? Are any of these in your favorite list from this year? Are you coveting any of these? And especially if they weren't in this list, I would love for you to list your top 1 or 2 favorites from the year. What could you not stop wearing? And perhaps, what's your oddball scent? Cheers. Talk soon. Have a great day. Happy New Year. Bye.